Hi guys, welcome back to another video of Easy Tutorials YouTube channel. Today in this video we are going to learn how to add the validation in contact form using JavaScript. So here you can see I have created a contact form where you can see the input field for the name, phone number, email ID and message, and at the end we have the submit button. If I click on the submit button, you can see it is giving an error, name is required, and there was one more error message at the bottom called please fix error to submit. First we have to fix the error which is in the name field. So here we have to enter the name because right now the name field is empty. So let's add anything here. If I write like this, still we are getting an error, write full name, because we have to add the first and last name. So let's add a space and write full name like this. Now you can see a green check icon, that means this input field is correct. So after adding the correct data in this name input field, let's click on the submit button again. So it is giving error in the phone number field, and here it is saying phone number is required. So let's add some characters here. If I write like this, it is saying phone number should be 10 digits. So let's add any 10-digit number here. So now you can see check mark, it means this input field is correct. After that, if I click on the submit button again, it is giving an error in email field. So here also we have to add the email ID. So let's add the email ID like this. So right now this is not the correct format, so that's why it is saying email invalid. So we have to add the email in proper email format. So if I write like this, now you can see a check mark. Let's click on the submit button again, and it is giving an error, 30 more characters required, because we have added the limit minimum 30 characters should be there in the message box. So here let's add any message. You can see as I am writing the text here, it is decreasing the required character. Right now it is saying 16 more characters required. After writing minimum 30 characters in this message field, we will get this check mark. Now we can submit this form. So let's click here and you can see it will submit the form. So without correcting all the fields, this form will not be submitted, and once we will correct all the input fields and click on submit button, this form will work. So we will learn how to add this validation in form using JavaScript. But before starting this video, I would like to thank Bluehost for sponsoring this video. Bluehost is very good website to buy domain name and web hosting. If you will buy a web hosting from Bluehost, you will get the free SSL certificate, free SEO tool and free CDN. When you will buy web hosting for 1 year, you will get the free domain name also. In any of the web hosting plan, you get the SSD storage which is very fast, and you get the unmetered bandwidth. It means there will be no issue with the traffic. You can drive n number of traffic on your website and your website will be always up and running. Here you get the free SSL protection. I will put the Bluehost link in the video description so that you can come on this website in one click and start building your website. If you don't know how to build your website with Bluehost, I have dedicated video on this one where you can learn how to build and publish your website in just few minutes. You can find that video link also in the description. Now let's start this tutorial to add validation on contact form using JavaScript. I have already created multiple tutorials about creating a contact form using HTML and CSS. That's why in this video I'm not going to design this form. You can go to the video description and download this HTML and CSS form, and in this video we will only talk about the validation. So let's come back to the folder, and here you can see I have this HTML and CSS file that you can also download from the video description. Once you will open these files with the code editor, you will see this HTML file where I have added the container, and then we have the form tag, and in this form we have added this icon, and here we have added the font awesome link. That's why we have added this font awesome icon. Then we have the input group, and in this one we have the input field for the name, this is for the phone number, this is for the email, and this one is for the text box, and after that we have the button. And you will get this CSS file also where we have added all the CSS for the design of the form. Once you will open this HTML file with web browser, you will get this form like this. Next, we will display the error message on this form. So let's come back to the code. And here you can see we have added the input field for the name. So just below this input field, we will add one span tag. And in this span, let's add one ID also. So I will add the ID name error. And in this name error, let's add a error. Name is required, like this. Simply we will add the span tag in all the input group just below the input field. So here also we will add the span tag, and this is for the phone number. So we will add the ID, phone error, and here also one message, phone is required. Let's copy this one and add it just after this input field for the email. Here we will add the ID, email error, and we will add the message email is required. And after that we will add one span here. This is for the message error. Message is required, like this. And we will add one message after this submit button also. So here also we will add a span, and we will add the ID, submit error, and one message, please fix error. So we have added these error message in this HTML file, and let's refresh our website. And now you can see these message here at the end of all the input fields, and one error message at the bottom left corner of this form. So we have to change the position and color for these error message. For that, we will come back to the HTML file, and here you can see we have the class name called input group, and in this input group we have the span tag where we have added the error message. So let's add this class name in the CSS file. And here we will add the span, and for this span we have to set the position. Position will be absolute. Then we will add the bottom. Bottom will be 12 pixel, and right 17 pixel. We will add the font size. It will be 14 pixel, and color. So the color will be red because it's an error. So you can see the position has been changed for these error message. We have to add the CSS for this one also, which is for the submit error. Let's come back, and here you can see we have added the ID called submit error. So let's copy this ID, write it here with the hashtag because it is an ID, and here we will add color red. That's it. So this message is also in the red color. So we have added the position and color for the error message, but right now this message is displaying by default, but we have to display this message after validation using JavaScript. So we will remove these error messages for now, and it will be displayed later. Let's come back and come to the HTML file and just remove this message. Span tag will be there. We have to remove the message only. Let's remove all the error message like this. It's done. Again, you can see the simple contact form. Now we have to add the JavaScript file. So here we will create a new file. Go to files, new file, and save this file as script.js. Make sure the file name should be JS. So we have created a new file, and next we have to come to the HTML file, and just at the bottom before this closing body tag we will add a script. script open and closing tag, write src and write the file name that we have just created, which is script.js. So it will connect the JavaScript file with the HTML file. Next, we have to add the variable for all these ID that we have written here in this HTML file. So let's come to the script file. This is the script.js, and here we will create variable. So let's add var name error equal to document dot get element by id, and in this id we will add the id that we have added in the HTML file. So you can see we have added the id called name error. Just copy this one and place it here. So this is the first variable. Just duplicate this one and change the name. It will be phone error. This is for the email error. This is message error, and this one for the submit error. And here also we will change the ID. So we have added these variables. Next, we have to add the function that will validate the input box. So let's come back to the HTML file, and here we have the input field for the name. In this one we will add one ID. So let's add one ID called contact name, and we will add one event. So it is on key up equal to, and here we will add one function name. So let's add any function name, validate name, like this. So here we have added one ID and one function. Next, we have to define this function that we have added here. So just copy this function and come to the script file. Here we will add function, write the function name like this. So this function will be executed whenever we will start typing anything in the input field. So here we will add one variable and write name equal to document dot get element by id, and in this id we will add the id that we have just created, which is contact name. Copy this one, add it here. At the end we will add dot value. So this variable called name will store the content written in the input box, which is for the name. So it will take the value of the input field, and now we will add the condition. So here we will add if name dot this will check whether this name length is 0. It means the input field is empty. So it will display an error called name is required. And where this error message will be displayed, it will be displayed in the variable called name error, and this name error is for the ID called name error that we have added here in this span tag. So in this span tag we will see this message called name is required when the length is 0. It means the input box is empty. Next we will add the another condition. Here we are adding this condition. So this expression is exactly checking the first character should be alphabet, and after that there will be one space, and after that it could be any character A to Z. Here we are adding exclamation. It means value is not matching with this expression, then it will give an error. So what will be the error? Just copy this one, paste it here, and here we will add write full name like this. And one more thing, once it will give an error, it will return false like this, and we will add this return false in this if condition also. So whenever there will be an error, it will return false. In this condition also, if it will give an error, it will return false. If there is no error, then what will happen? It will display a success message. So let's add name error dot inner HTML equal to, and in this one let's add valid like this. Suppose there is no error, then it will say valid, and then it will return true. Like this. It is not an, it will be a $sign like this. So again refresh the website, and you can see if I write a first name and write anything in the second name, it will say valid. You can see the message has been changed to valid. So instead of valid, we want to display a check sign. So you can see in the HTML file we have added this font awesome link, so we can add the font awesome icons. So let's come to the font awesome website. Here we will search for one icon. So let's go to the icon and search for check. We'll click on this one, check circle, copy this and come back to the script file, and in this script, instead of this valid, we will add this HTML code like this, and we will change the color also. So it is in the I tag. You can see it is in the I tag. So we have to use this I tag in this CSS file. Just come to the CSS and copy this input group span, and in this span we have the I tag for the icon, and here we will add the color. So let's add the color of this one. After adding this color, come to the web page, and here we will add one name. Now you can see a green color of check sign. So it is working fine. Next we will add the validation for the phone number field. So let's come back. Again come to the HTML file, and as you can see we have added the ID in the name field and one function. So same thing we will do in the phone number field. So just copy it here. So this is for the phone number field, so it will be contact phone. ID is contact phone, and here we will add validate phone like this. Come to the script file and let's copy this one, paste it here. Instead of validate name, we will add validate phone. This is for the phone number validation, and again we have to add the variable. So let me just copy this one only, paste it here. It will be phone equal to document.getElementYID contact phone. ID is contact phone. So this phone will store the value written in the phone number input field. Next we have to add the condition to check the phone number. So here let me write the condition, then I will explain to you. So you can see here we have added phone.length equal to 0. So it will check whether the phone number field is empty, then it will display an error phone number is required. Next it will check the length of the phone number. If it is not equal to 10, then it will display an error phone number should be 10 digits. In this condition it is checking the phone number should be 0 to 9 and for 10 characters, and if it is not like that, then it will display an error called only digits. And if there is no error like this, then it will display a check icon and it will return true. So after adding this, let's check the phone number field. Come back to the web page, and here if I write, you can see phone number should be 10 digits. So let's add more digits, and now you can see a check icon. You can see if I add any character like this, Z, Y, anything, it is saying only digits please. So we need to add digits, and if we add 10 digits, it is fine. So this phone number validation is also working. Now let's come back and we will add the validation in this email field. So let me just copy this one and paste it here. In this email input field, write the ID contact email, and this is validate email. Next we will add the script. So let's copy this one. It will be validate email, then copy this, paste it here. It will be email document.getElementYID contact email. So it will store the value written in the email input field. And now we will check the conditions. So in this validate email function, we are adding this variable that will get the value of the input box, and then it will check the length. If it is 0, it means it is empty. So it will display an error, email is required, and return false. Next, if there is some value, then it will check this condition, and here it is saying it should be any alphabet. It may contain a dot or underscore or this hyphen, and it can also contain any number. And after that there should be one @. After @ there will be some alphabets and then one dot, and after that dot there will be another alphabet. It could be 2, 3 or 4 characters. So if the email format is not matching with this one, then it will display an error called email invalid and return false. And if there is no such error, then it will display the check icon and return true. Here we will remove this and save this file. Let's refresh the website again, and if I write correct email here, now you can see it is displaying a check icon. It means the email ID is valid. Next we have to add the validation for the message box. Let's come back, and here we will add one ID and one function. Copy and paste it here. Write the ID called contact message. and this is validate message. Now let's come back to the script file and copy this one. Here we will add validate message. And in this one again we will add one variable. So it will store the value written in the message box, and after that we will add one variable where we will add any number required equal to. So if we want 30 characters, then we will add 30 characters is required. And here let's add another variable, and it is left equal to required minus message dot length. So it will give the value how much characters is left, and now we will add the condition. If left greater than 0, it will be giving an error message error dot inner HTML. And then it will return false. And if there is no such error and the character is more than 30, then it will display a check sign. Just copy this one, paste it here, and here we will add message error dot inner HTML. That's it. Here it will be this one message. Refresh the website, and now you can see if I write something, 29 more characters required. If I delete this one, it will display 30 more characters required. And if we write some text here, and now you can see the error message has gone and we will get the check icon. So this message box validation is also working fine. Next we have to add the validation when we will click the submit button. So let's come back. In this button we will add on click, and here let's add return space and one function. Validate form. Next we have to define this function called validate form in the JavaScript. So let's copy this one, come back to the JavaScript file, and here we will add a function validate form, and in this one first it will check all the functions that we have added in the different input field. So here we will add if exclamation validate name, then we will add exclamation validate phone. In the series wise we are adding so this condition will check if any of these are false, then it will display an error message. So here we will add submit error dot inner HTML and one message. Like this. and after that it will also return false. After adding this, again refresh the website and simply click on the submit button, and you can see here it is displaying please fix error to submit. submit, submit. But right now this error message will be displayed continuously, so we have to hide this message after few seconds. So let's come back, and here we will add submit error dot style dot display. It will be block, so it will be visible, and here we will add set timeout display none. So after 3 seconds it will hide the error message which is please fix error to submit. So this message will be displayed for 3 seconds, and after 3 seconds it will be hidden because we are adding display none in the set timeout, and it will return false, so it will not submit the form. So let's check this one, and if I click here you can see this message will be hidden after some time. You can see this message is hidden. So this complete form is working fine right now. Let me check all these input field, and if I write a name here, then we will add one phone number and any email ID and message. After correcting all the input field, if I click on submit, it will submit the form successfully without any error message. So it is working fine. So we have completed this form validation using JavaScript. I hope this video will be helpful for you. If you have any question, you can ask me in the comment section. Please like and share this video, and also subscribe my channel Easy Tutorials to watch more videos like this one. Thank you so much for watching this video.